So you're looking for an affordable smartphone below $300, but you just don't want to buy any Chinese smartphone or a phone from a brand you don't know. Well then, the Sony Xperia XA1 may be interesting for you. Sony has launched this phone this year at the MWC 2017, and now I could use it for already more than 3 weeks as my main phone. Many subscribers say that I just review flagship devices, and yes, it's kinda true in the last time. So this is why I tried to use a budget smartphone as my main smartphone for my daily life. I'm Steven from TechMagnet, and today we'll check out if the Sony Xperia XA1 is worth it or not. The Xperia XA Premium, their flagship, sells itself on a 4K HDR display, while the Xperia XA1 Ultra is huge and has a strange front camera packed with features. And then there's the Xperia XA1, which just updates what we have seen last year and tries to focus more on the budget market. The design has not really changed, but to be honest, I like it. It's just a pity that the screen has not been updated and it's still rocking a 720p 5-inch panel, which is colorful and bright enough, but not the sharpest out there. Also, the color saturation could be higher, but I would say it's an okay panel, but there are some budget phones with a way better 1080p panel. The processor comes once again from MediaTek, a supplier that's becoming more and more tied to budget devices, and it's this time the Helio P20. This is a mid-range SoC with 8 cores running at 2.3 GHz and a Mali T880 GPU. This all is combined with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of ROM, which can be extended with microSD cards. However, for the price, I've definitely seen faster devices, and you will notice that the UI lags while doing multitasking. The Xperia XA1 ships with Android 7.0 Nougat, along with Sony Skin that has steadily improved over the years. There are some Sony apps pre-installed, but there is no real bloatware. As stated before, the UI is not super fast, but gets the job done for normal tasks, but as you can see, Facebook and those apps, sometimes they take some time to load up or they just lag a little bit. The phone is completely made out of plastic and the materials are not really good. In my 3 weeks testing it, the back is already heavily scratched, and I got a huge scratch in the front glass. So to be honest, I don't really take care of my smartphones, but also I'm not a smartphone abuser, so I would say a bit more than normal use. At the top there is a 3.5mm headphone jack, and at the bottom we got a speaker and a USB Type-C port. All buttons are placed on the right side of the frame, and to be honest, I don't like the power button because it's really tiny and there is no fingerprint scanner anymore. Right next to it there's the volume rocker and the camera button, which I really like. On the opposite side there is the SIM card and microSD card slot. The front looks really good. Small side bezels, but huge chins with front speakers, a Sony logo, the front camera, and a notification LED which is multicolored. Talking about the speakers, well, it's funny, there is the speaker at the bottom with an outlet to the front, and also the top acts a little bit as a speaker, so not the loudest ones I've heard, but clarity is quite okay. Inside the plastic body you will find a very small 2300 mAh battery, but also the phone is small and Sony claims that it will last all day, and yes, it's kinda true, so it's around 1 day of use for me with the 720p screen, but at the end of the day it always needs a recharge. Charging is quite fast because it supports MediaTek's Pump Express 2.0 and also has Knovo adaptive charging to extend your battery life. The Sony Xperia XA1 and XA1 Ultra are mid-range handsets, so unfortunately they don't get the latest and greatest when it comes to Sony's camera features. However, the XA1 comes with a massive 23-megapixel sensor and a f2.0 aperture. But as soon as you use it, you will notice that the sensor is not everything. If you press the power button twice, it quickly opens the camera. Well, under daylight conditions it captures okay looking pictures. They could have more details, better dynamic range, but colors and that looks okay. Under low light conditions the XA1 gets quite noisy, just like most of the Sony phones. Also, it can record videos with a maximum of 1080p at 30 fps. The front facing camera comes with an 8 megapixel sensor and produces okay looking pictures under daylight conditions. But the colors could look better and also the dynamic range. However, it's okay for occasional social media selfies. And also the front-facing camera can record with 1080p at 30 FPS maximum. And here are some video samples. Hey guys, so here's a quick front-facing camera test, and so far the front-facing camera quality is really not the best, so it's really zoomed in right now in 1080p. As you can see, focus is pulsing sometimes, and dynamic range is also not really the best. So for a €200 smartphone, I have definitely seen better front-facing cameras. Then let's move quickly inside. Steady shot is currently on, so all the settings are on auto, and let's see how it deals with low light. So let's move in here, and as you can see, colors, they do look sometimes a little bit weird, and if there is not a lot of light, it's actually pretty hard for the camera to get not totally noisy here. So the front-facing camera is really not the best, and the maximum recording quality is 1080p. Well, I would say it's okay for a €200 Sony smartphone. So guys, shooting here a 1080p HDR clip, and as you can see, if you go here from the sky, so from a backlight scene here into the shade, then sometimes it doesn't really recognize the change in the light, and it keeps the colors very dark. Then you just move a little bit around and it brightens up the whole scene. So HDR does look sometimes good, but usually on the phone it tends to be a little bit too dark in my opinion. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, shooting now a 1080p clip here on the smartphone with stabilization, and as you can see, if you compare this to HDR, it handles exposure really a lot better. We have a tap focus on right now, and let's move a little bit around. So currently there is steady shot on. It looks kind of smooth on the smartphone itself due to the stabilization. So yeah, dynamic range is okay. Sometimes it really takes some time to change the exposure and to expose correctly, sometimes a bit overexposed. And let's go here inside, let's check out my dirty garage. Anyway, this is how it deals in low light. As you can see, gets kind of noisy. So if you compare this, for instance, to the iPhone or any other phone I've tested here, then yeah, this phone is very, very noisy. So all in all, it's okay. It shoots in 1080p, it's nice stabilized, but the footage could have more details, a little bit better dynamic range, and yeah, faster switching between the exposure, so the exposure correction. Anyway, this is how a 1080p on the Sony looks like. Wow, so beautiful. Check this out. Now this is the macro performance of the smartphone. Check it out, guys. Not too bad. The camera app is great because it offers a lot of features and is very easy to use, so not like on the Huawei P10 for instance. So for average smartphone photographers, it's really great. The signal quality was not really good, to be honest. I had some random signal drops, which I didn't have on any other phone. I never completely lost the signal, but sometimes I suffered of slow 3G or 4G speeds or just signal drops inside of a building. However, GPS performance was very good and the signal looked very good for a MediaTek chipset. Gaming performance is not that good, but this phone is not made for gaming anyway. Also, as you can see, the benchmarks do not look impressive. It also lacks of a gyroscope and other sensors, but that's common on budget phones. And also, there's no sign of overheating on the phone with the MediaTek chipset. So all in all, guys, the Sony XA1 is not a complete fail and looks better than the old XA, definitely. Still, I think there are better smartphones in this price range for even a lower price. But well, Sony gives you good quality control and also after-sales support, so regarding the warranty, which is a little bit problematic if it comes to Chinese smartphones, and it supports all frequency bands. So if you're looking for a budget brand phone, then check out the XA1. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the smartphone, just ask them down below in the comments and I'll answer them as soon as possible. I'm Steven from TechMagnet and I'll catch you in the next review. Thanks for watching.